So, what does DJ stand for?
Donna Jean.
Donna Jean.
Yeah, I was born in the South, and it's not unusual to have two names that are used in conversation.
And, when did you move to Alameda, and what was it like when you moved here?
Oh boy. I moved to Alameda not so long ago, in 1999. And they were still wondering what to do about the base property. That hasn't changed. There were fewer new houses being developed. So it was more a settled community, or at least to me it seemed settled. I moved from Miami to Oakland, to North Oakland, in 1968. So I've been out here longer than I grew up. So this is now home, for sure. And I lived in North Oakland thinking that I would stay there permanently until I started having trouble walking, and I knew I had to get a flat community. And that's what brought me to Alameda.
And, what has been your favorite part of living in Alameda?
Oh, the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. For me, that's really important. And it's a safe community. And shopping is nearby. And if there's no problem with the wheelchair, I can go to the library, I can go wherever I want.
And, do you currently have family, and if you do, where do they live?
I have a sister in North Carolina. It was about 2.5 hours north of Atlanta. And she raised her family in Atlanta. So her daughter stayed there, and she went up to North Carolina to live in a house that she and her husband had physically built themselves. Pretty impressive, huh?
That is pretty impressive.
And she has a son, and he's in North Dakota. He likes the cold. Silly boy.
My brother loves the cold.
Oh, yeah? Some people are more hot-blooded than others, I think.
Yeah.
So he's an engineer up there, and his sister is a teacher in Atlanta. So that's what they're doing now.
And I'm not sure if you mentioned this. You mentioned you lived south, but where did your family live before Miami?
My father was a Georgia boy. He was born in Waycross, Georgia, in the southern part of Georgia. My mother's family came down when she was about 3, came down to Miami from Minnesota, a little farming town called Cokato. Cokato. Nobody, or Hutchison. That's nearby. It's a bigger town nearby. So.
And what was it like to live in Miami as a child?
Oh, it was great. Oh, there were small retaining walls all leading up onto the bay. Some places were not, so you just played among the mangrove trees, mangrove swamps. It was not very developed. Now it's enormously developed. My family see, my mother was raised in a house that eventually we moved into. And my father spent, I don't know how many hours, remodeling it, adding new power and plumbing and everything. So she was still in the same house she grew up in.
Dang.
Yeah. It's pretty stable, isn't it?
And, have you been back to Miami?
I can't remember what year it was. I used to go back every year. For a long time, I did my shopping back there because I knew the stores. And let me guess, it might have been, well, let me think about, I'd have to think about that to get to it. Maybe 10 years after I'd lived out here, I was still going back almost every year. And then it got to be Christmas. And then sometimes I'd miss a Christmas. And piece by piece, I stayed more out here.
And, how does it compare to Alameda? How does Miami compare to Alameda?
Oh boy, now or then? Then?
You can do then and now.
Well, I don't know how I could compare it. Miami, when we were growing up, we just were out on the streets by ourselves, perfectly safe. And I don't think that's true in Alameda.
No, it's not.
Right. And so it was a great place to grow up in. Right near the water, could go tromping around and not get into any real trouble. Once we learned how to swim, handle fire.
And, if you wrote a book about your life, like your entire life, what would be the most memorable chapter?
What a shock it was to go from really healthy, really agile, really independent, to getting MS. That was a big shock of my life. It's changed everything. Now I'm more dependent on people, and I don't like it one bit still. It's hard to ask for help. I stay as independent as I can, and I have aides to help me. And they're very good about that. You know, they know the difference between doing what I can't do and overdoing, so that I get frustrated or angry. But there's less that I can do as each year goes by. So getting accustomed to that has been the biggest surprise. And nobody knows how it's going to affect them. I was just looking back, very fortunate that my spending habits were meager when I had an income, and that I maintained a savings account, and I let it grow for a good retirement. Look what the retirement is now, you know. It's not only retirement, regular retirement, but it's not the travel I used to do, it's the medical costs that I have to pay. So, very good question.
And, to you, who is the most important person in your life?
Right now? Right this minute?
Overall.
Overall. Maybe it was my mother. You know, I still feel her influence. My husband, I still feel his influence. His great years together. There are many people over the years that were really important to me. I can't pick one person. Yeah.
And what lessons from your life would you give to kids today?
Enjoy where you are. Plan for financial unknowns. Save early. Enjoy what you're doing now. Stay here. Now. You've asked some very good questions.
Thank you.
Make me think pretty hard. So, what age and what school do you go to?
I go to Encinal High School.
Uh-huh. What level are you?
I'm a freshman.
Great. You got a couple more years. Are you active in what kinds of after-school activities?
I do water polo and I'm starting track.
Water polo. Wow. That was something we played. But it wasn't a recognized sport when we played it.
It is now.
Yeah. Like beach volleyball was not a recognized sport, but we played it.
Yeah, they play it now as a recognized sport.
And you're going into track.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun. Hard
I hope
stretch.
it is.
Yeah? What kind of track?
Probably sprinting.
Ooh. Fast, hard running. Well, best wishes to you.
Thanks. So you're a civil service social worker? That was your occupation? Or
Civil service was my whole career. At first I was a social worker right out of college. And up until about 1974. And then I moved into financial analysis, which is a big shift. You never know where you're going to go in life. And after that, I found that I really liked general administration better, not just limited into financial. So I moved into general administration in public health, then in the courts, and then with the Judicial Council of California. And that's the court system. Both trial courts and appellate courts in California. And I did that a long time, maybe 15 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm 15.
Are you? Well, look ahead. You never know what's going to be next. Yeah. You got everything spread out in front of you. I guess one of the most important things that I ever heard was from a book. And it was to examine every path you're going to take. And if it has a heart, take it. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a mistake. Maybe not then, but maybe later on.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be participating in this program. I think it's just a special idea. And I'm glad to have you boys working with the program. And glad to have met you.
Yeah, thanks for participating.
Yes. Thank you
Indeed.
for participating.
Indeed, my pleasure. Thank you.